Welcome back to the channel.
Hello.
For those that are just joining us for the first time, I'm John.
And I'm Donna.
And we're Cottywomple Travelers. And that's Jack. And it's been a minute. We haven't been around for a little while. Wanted to give you an explanation, let you know that we got a new video out.
Finally.
Finally. Well, one of the reasons that we travel the way that we do is that we're able to pretty much go anywhere and stop anytime and do anything we want to, whenever we want to, for the most part, especially for family, brothers, sisters, all along our route as we travel. That also includes being able to go home for medical emergencies. And that's where we've been. Donna's mom's been sick, and in April we went back across and spent some time with her. Unfortunately, she died in August. Yeah, our RV's been sitting in the yard for probably a month. This video is all about getting us back up and running again, repacking some bearings, giving it a good wipe down on the inside while we're stopped.
Reorganizing
things of that nature. So we're going to take you along for this journey. I hope you'll continue to follow along with us. We've got some more how-to videos, and we're back in Florida right now, so we'll catch you up and headed toward the Keys. We got some really cool friends that we've met up with. Jack's happy to be back on the road again. So as we talked about, we have been sitting still for quite a while. And now that it's getting time to move again, one of the things that we're going to start working on is servicing our RV and getting it up and running. It's been a year since we installed the bearings on our MORRIDE independent suspension. So what we're going to do today is take the wheels and bearings off, replace the inner seals, and re-grease everything, make sure everything's in good shape for another season of travel on the road. Here we go. We're in the backyard of Donna's mom's house here, so we've got the RV parked here, and we've got access to electricity and things like that, and a good safe place to work. So I'm able to back my truck up here fairly close and use the tailgate as a workspace. Well, obviously you got to get the tires off, and the next step was to get our brake calipers off, get us where we're free. Got my jack up underneath there. Another thing good to do while you're under here, and it's nice and shady up underneath the slide, is I'm always looking at my wells, looking at the grease, looking at and just generally checking on the general condition of your RV. And so we got the brake calipers off. The next step is going to be to take this off and to get our bearings out of there. It's got a little retainer ring. It's a locking ring that holds the nut in there to where that it won't come off, but I have to take a small screwdriver or something. It just pops right off. Gonna need to save that piece. We're gonna reuse it and put it back, and then the rest of it should just spin right off. It shouldn't be that tight. There we go. Should be a flat washer. And then the bearing is behind that. I don't know if I can get it with one hand here. Let's see. There we go. And there's your outer bearing. The inner bearing's on the inside. We'll have to get to that once we get it over here on the tailgate of the truck. Now that we got it off, got my spindle all cleaned off. All the cobwebs on it. It's been sitting for way too long when you got cobwebs in here. When I replaced the bearings, I kept pictures and notes on the numbers of the bearings and the oil seals as well. So before we got started with this, I went ahead and bought all new rear seals for them. So I've got all new rear seals. We are going to knock the rear seal out to get to that back bearing, and it always usually damages it. So we'll take that seal out, get to that back bearing, get them all cleaned up, get them re-greased, and get it all put back together. I've got my bearings out. I kind of wiped them down, cleaned them up. What you don't do is put your bearing in there, and you can see, I think you can see with the thing, I'm using red grease, so I'm gonna pump it until I get red grease out all the way around to show that I've got good new fresh grease in my bearings. So I'll do this on both bearings before I put it back inside. We have used our handy dandy Harbor Freight, the bearing and seal driver set that I have. It comes with a piece here, match it up to the size of the seal. We managed to get our seal back in place, got plenty of grease in there. The rear bearing is in place. I've got the front bearing already greased and ready to go here. This is a point that I'm sure some of you may correct me. We're gonna get different ways. This is not how you do it. This is how I like to do it. Now that I've got my assembly back up where it goes, it's hand tight. I break out my torque wrench at that time. I've got it set at 50. And hear me out. So what I'll do is take it, I'll bring it down to 50. And I'm gonna spin it a few times, let it sit for a few minutes. I'm gonna break it loose, and then I'll come back and torque it to 30 pounds. I'll do the same thing again. Let it sit for a few minutes, back off of it, and then I'll run it down a good, just snug, so that the bearings are not loose and there's no play in the system right here, and put my locking cap back on it. So the whole point of this is to seat those bearings in place. That's how I do it. Y'all gonna need better ideas. I am all ears, but this is the way I've done it for years, and seems to have worked good for me so far. And while I'm letting this one set, I've got this one disassembled. I can go ahead and work on the bearings on it. By the time I get back, this one should have set long enough for me. There's not a set formula for this. It's just one of those things that I do. All right, so I've managed to get everything torqued back down like it's supposed to. Got all the pieces put back in place. I'm not getting into the weeds on this too much. It's just a real basic of, you need to do this about once a year if you travel full time like we do. This past year we've been as far as the Grand Canyon. Now we're back in Georgia. We had already been down in Florida, so we've put a lot of miles on this in the last year, and it really needed doing. It wasn't in bad shape, but it did need doing. But got my brake calipers put back on, got them torque bound to spec, got my bearings put back in place. Everything turns like it's supposed to, so we'll put the tires back on it and move on to the other side, rinse and repeat. Probably not going to carry y'all through that, but we're going to do this exact same thing on the other side and knock it out. If I wasn't filming, this probably wouldn't take but a couple hours. All right, so I forgot to mention one time, I said you need to carry a torque wrench, but anytime you take your tires or wheels off, you need to make sure and torque them back to their factory spec. Ours is 120 foot-pounds. So what I'll do is torque these all down. We'll drive it for about 50 miles or so, and then at one of our early stops, because we usually stop fairly early, maybe to get fuel, I'll stop, keep my torque wrench handy, and walk around and re-torque them down to make sure that nothing's worked their way loose. Very important. There's been people lose whole tires on the side of the road due to not torquing them down and keeping the right specs on them. And you can over torque them too. Folks, whatever you do, pick up after your dog. Don't get us on a rant. Well, this morning's project, as we talked about earlier, we're going to go through, wipe down all the jacks, take care of our Swintech slides, and then our hydraulic slides. We're going to do some oiling and greasing on that. So we'll walk through the process of getting the outside prepped and ready. When we had the wheels off, I went ahead and greased the axles and checked on all of that while I had it apart. So I won't show you that today, but here we go. We'll get some stuff out and start working on getting us ready to travel. Now, the thing that I like to start with is my jacks. These are extended out a little bit far right now because of where we're sitting in the backyard here. But I carry a couple of different things. I carry WD-40, just regular WD-40. And what I'll do is spray this down and get a good coat on it. I keep a rag around and I'll wipe this down and get it good and clean with this rag and try to wipe all the grit, grime, things of that nature off of it. Make sure and get right up around the seal real good to get it cleaned up. And then I will follow up and put a good coat of dry lube on it and let that sit. Try to do this about once a month, but I'll go around and do all 6 jacks on ours to keep them moving up and down easily. The next thing we're going to get into here is our Swintech slide. I always take a minute to look at both the top and the bottom on every one of our Swintech slides. I want to look for any uneven wear, tear in the gear mechanism here. And then I use the dry lube as well to lube this slot. This is the slot that's the guide goes through and really where the lube needs to be. So I will lube that slide up right there and wipe up any residue that comes off of it and do all 4 on both of our slides before we move on. While I'm up on the ladder, I always want to take care of your seals on here. I use a product that's designed for rubber seal on your slide outs. So we'll spray all the slide out seals, wipe them down, keep them in good condition while I'm on the ladder and up here working on. Now, while I'm climbing around up on top of here and doing all this kind of stuff, we absolutely want to make sure and check and inspect anything. It's a good chance while you're walking around to put your hands on everything and actually take a minute to look at it, inspect all the fittings, all your different screws, make sure there's not any lost screws. I mean, after all, this is a rolling earthquake going down the road. So make sure and do that while you're up and about. Now on our RV, we have our kitchen main midsection slide are hydraulic. So while I'm under here, I want to look at this bar. I'm looking at all the connections, fittings, and you'll notice this has a gear right here. We want to dry lube all this real good. Make sure there's not any loose fittings, screws. Everything looks like there's no wear spots or anything. Just for the good health of your RV and making sure that you don't have any surprises as much as possible while you're out traveling. While traveling in an RV, we're always struggling for storage space, things like that. And one of the things that we've done, and I'll flip the camera around here and show you, is that we have installed some shelves in our bathroom. We have a 3791, so we had a big, huge open area, but no shelves in it. So while we're stopped here, is get us some shelves installed so that we got more storage space. While we're working on the RV, replace the batteries in your smoke detector. While you're stopped, or you're supposed to do it when it's changed the season anyway, when it's spring forward and fall back, change the batteries in your smoke detector.
Something else we did.
What did we do?
We have become Florida residents.
Oh yeah!
Yeah.
We did get to become Florida residents. So we have a new Florida license. We have new Florida tags.
They know all that.
So that's part of the deal. We've been going through the process here. Sorry, we're walking Jack, and sometimes he just stops on his own. It's not real hard. We used escapees.
Yeah.
And
very easy.
yeah, it really wasn't much to it, and it wasn't terribly expensive. I think insurance probably cost us more than anything. But the whole process was fairly painless if you go through the packet and read all the directions that Escapees gives you and get your paperwork together. When we went to the DMV, we were able to get voter cards, get the truck registered, and get our license all in one stop. They literally have one stop, but you can stop at one building and get it all done.
Yeah.
Georgia, you need to get in line. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, really.
That was very nice. The people were extremely nice. So yeah. So Florida residents, yay! And we're hanging out here at Three Flags. And Three Flags it's not terribly special, but it's a really good just place to stay. Close to the villages, there's lots of stuff to see and do. Plenty of restaurants, grocery stores, Lowe's, Home Depot, all that stuff's right here in the area. So if you're ever down this way in part of the 1,000 Trails system, Three Flags isn't a bad stop. We'll be back.
Definitely.
Molly is getting a good scrubbing, so it's actually embarrassing. We haven't washed our rig since we were just pulling out from the Grand Canyon. We'd been boondocking and we took it through a Blue Beacon, but it's the first time I've had a chance to really get the brushes out and give it a really good scrubbing. Even Jack's ready for travel. He's found his home again. You can see Donna in there, she has got the refrigerator torn apart, scrubbing everything, going through, getting rid of stuff, cleaning out the pantry, all kinds of good stuff. So we're going to be reset for a fresh season of travel. One of the advantages of having solar and batteries is we've been sitting in the backyard here now for what, a month? And we haven't had to hook up to power yet. Everything still works. The camper's in good shape. Donna and I are able to come out here and work and vacuum and do things and not have to worry about it. So having solar, even if you stay in RV parks a lot of times, sometimes when you have to park like we do, it's a big advantage. We haven't had to worry about the refrigerator or anything while we've been here. I think the lowest we've gotten is down to 78% when we watch TV in here one night.
If your camper sits for a long time, it's a good idea to just wipe everything down, your cabinets and stuff. It kills any mold, it cuts grease.
What do you wipe it down with?
Vinegar water.
So we wiped down the whole cabinets, every piece of wood, all the walls, everything inside the camper with a mixture of vinegar water.
Just a damp, don't wash it down, but a damp cloth mixed with vinegar water. Just wipe everything down.
And that's what you're using in the refrigerator as well?
Yeah, this time I am.
Somebody is happy to get his toys back. One of the things we did to help create more space for carrying is Montana had these big, huge shelves that went from here to here. So we put shelves in and split it so that we would have more storage room. And Donna wanted spice racks on the doors. We hung spice racks on the door to give us more storage space while we're traveling. That way we can carry more stuff. Well, we hope you got something out of that video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow back along. Pass this along to your friends. We're going to do some more how-tos. We're looking for some adventures to get back into. And hopefully we'll meet you somewhere out on the road.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Absolutely. Till next time.